What's up, guys? Adam Stark here with the Adam Stark Home Selling Team at Gordon Real Estate. Welcome. If you're joining us here, you are on the Home Buying Mastery webinar training here, where I'm going to talk about the most costly mistakes that home buyers make. And if you're in the market, whether it be now, whether you're thinking it's going to be sometime in the near future, 6 months, year, 2 years, doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you how to avoid making these mistakes, okay? So a couple things before we get started. I just want to let you know what you're going to get for sticking around with me, hanging out here for the full hour, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., at least Central Time, wherever you're at. I know I've got a couple people watching this outside of the state of Missouri. So, regardless of where you're at, it's going to be 1 hour. Okay, and what you're going to get are the tools and skills to secure the best possible deal inside of the marketplace. Okay, so I'm going to show you the different things that we do in our home buying system, how you can apply those to your home buying process to ensure that you're getting the best possible deal. I'm going to show you the solutions to avoiding these costly mistakes that we're talking about, right? So we're going to go over what I feel and what I found to be the most costly mistakes that home buyers are making, how it's costing them thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, especially when it comes time to sell, right? I'm going to show you how to avoid those mistakes after we clarify what exactly they are. I'm also going to give you a free list of all the off-market deals. Now, you may be asking yourself, Adam, what in the hell is an off-market deal? Well, I'm going to explain what that is. I'm going to give it to you. I'm guarantee you that you are going to appreciate it. You're going to be able to use it. And in most cases, we're going to find the best deals in the marketplace in these off-market deal categories. Okay. I'm also going to give you a free copy of my book, The Ultimate Guide to Jefferson City Real Estate, What You Need to Know Before Hiring a Real Estate Agent. Yes. That is the title. It's extremely long. All right, but it's a good book. It's a lot of good information. Again, whether you're buying or selling, I mean, this book's going to be applicable, but I've got whole chapters dedicated just to the home buying process. So just for sticking around with me, I'm going to shoot you a free copy of that. And pick it up, take a read on it. And if you're just buying a home, if you're not selling, like I said, there's just a few chapters that are designated directly to you. You can pick those up and pick the book up and just check out those chapters and find out what actually applies to you and what doesn't. Okay, I'm going to give it to you regardless, just for hanging out here. Whoops, wrong way. Sorry, guys. Man, listen, when we're live, this is absolutely live, right? So bear with me. Hope you guys. It looks like I've got people on here, and if you guys can hear me, why don't somebody just type a quick message real quick and let me know that you can hear me. I probably should have done that up front, but just bear with me as we are live. Technology in some cases does have its challenges. Okay. So again, if you are on here, just post up that you can hear me okay, and we'll continue to get going here. Okay. All right. Well, at least one person can hear me. All right. So we'll just keep going. Listen, guys, just so you know, if you can't hear me on here, if there's any type of technical issues on your end, just know this is being recorded, right? It is live, but it's also being recorded. And everyone that's on here, I'm going to send out a copy of this so you can rewatch it as many times as you like. You'll have access to it for as long as you need. Okay. So here's 3 things that I've been able to break down. Again, this is what I based my home buying system on. Okay. Is what do buyers actually want? What I try to do is provide a service, right, for what people actually want. I mean, that is sales, that is business, right? Find a need and fill the gap, right? But I want to explain here what I found to be the 3 most important things for home buyers and what they actually want, right? Number 1 is the best possible price. Right? It seems pretty elementary, self-explanatory. I've yet to find a buyer today that tells me they don't want the best possible price, okay? But in a lot of cases, buyers are willing to pay when they really like something, right? They're willing to pay, in a lot of cases, more than what it's actually worth. When it comes to real estate, that may be fine, right? If you got a certain brand of shoes or a purse or other products, in the marketplace outside of real estate that you want to pay for that may not actually have that type of resale value. Okay, but when we're talking about real estate, what we're talking about is probably going to be one of the most, if not the biggest, investment that you ever make in your life. Okay, again, whether this is your first home or you're moving up, every move up is going to be the next biggest investment, right? So we want to ensure when we're making investments into something that we're getting it at the best possible price, right? Warren Buffett's entire strategy, right, becoming a billionaire in the stock market was what? To buy companies, buy their stock at 50 cents on the dollar, right? So when it comes to buying real estate, let's take a Warren Buffett approach to this thing. Now, granted, okay, understand, I'm not saying you can go out in the marketplace here in Jefferson City anyways and find homes that are 50 cents on the dollar regularly, right? With these off-market deals, you may be able to find cases like that, right? But what I am saying is let's make sure that we're paying at least what the home is worth, right? So getting the best possible price, okay? The biggest selection, again, what most home buyers don't have access to, what they think they have access to, but what they really don't have access to is the biggest possible selection of all homes that are currently available in the marketplace that match their criteria, right? But every buyer wants it, right? In order to get the best possible price, in order to get the best deal, right? In order to find the home that you absolutely love, want, and all of those terms, the best best price, best deal, is to have the biggest selection. Right? If we've got a small selection, how do we know we're getting the best deal? Right? So every buyer wants that. And then lastly is a smooth and easy transaction. Now, again, if you're a first-time home buyer, what you probably, well, what I know you've had no experience in doing is once you find a home, you make an offer, like that whole process from the contract to close, right? That's when things really become stressful. There's a lot of time frames that have to be met. There's a lot of conditions inside of the contracts that the buyers have to perform on, right? So that's where a lot of the stress comes in, and most buyers want to deal with this thing, with as less stress as possible, and I don't blame you, okay? So right here, we got the buyer's biggest fears. Right now, we know what you want, right? But what are most people afraid of? Why are people not buying a home, or what's stopping you from taking that next step? Well, I've been able to narrow it down to 4 things, right? The 4 fears that most buyers have. Again, this isn't just for first timers. I know I've got someone here, right? Because you hit me up, so I know you're here. Right? But this is also for anyone, whether you're buying your second home, third home, or whatever, right? Like, this is important, okay? To understand what the fears are, to understand that, agents like myself understand them, right? I'm going to show you, obviously what the mistakes are as well, and then, how to get over these fears and how to avoid the mistakes. But number 1 is overpaying for a home, right? This is everyone's biggest fear, that nobody wants to overpay for anything, really, right? Again, cost is only an issue in the absence of value, but when it comes to real estate, paying too much can cost you a lot, regardless of if you perceived value or not at the price you paid. If you're overpaying for a home, it's going to end up costing you down the road. Okay, so I understand that fear. I'm going to show you how to avoid that. Number 2, unable to afford the mortgage payments. Everyone's afraid of, well, I don't know if I can afford my mortgage payment. Is this going to strap me? Am I going to be house poor? What if I lose my job? These fears are there as well. Right now, obviously, no one can predict if your company's going to shut down, or you lose your job. I can't predict that. Obviously, I hope that never happens to anyone, right? But the other things of, can I afford the mortgage? I'm going to show you how to overcome that fear and not make that mistake of getting in over your head when it comes to your home mortgage, okay? Number 3 is buying a home with structural problems, right? I'm not talking about, does your ceiling fan not work, or, is there, not GFCIs next to the, within 6 feet of water sources? I'm not talking about that stuff. Obviously, those things are important when it comes to safety issues. But they're not nearly as important as when it comes to structural problems. You buy a home with structural problems, you're going to have a big problem on your hands. Probably a big costly financially costly problem, as well as trying to resell. Right? If you got something with structural problems, you're going to have a hard time getting rid of it sometime down the road in the future. Okay. So again, we'll show you how to avoid some of those things. Number 4 is choosing the wrong type of mortgage. Okay. Now again, for people involved in the home buying process in the past, if this isn't your first go around, you're probably aware that there was multiple financing options available to you. You may not know what all of them were, right? And you may not have known which one was really a best fit for you. Assuming you dealt with a real mortgage professional, someone who takes their job seriously, right? Then they probably guided you towards the right mortgage. But for those of you who have not bought a home before, understand that there are more than one type of mortgage that you can, procure and secure for yourself. Okay, we've got FHA, we've got VA, we've got USDA. There's conventional financing, right? You have MHDC, FHA loans, right? Some of these banks are out there just offering programs to first-time home buyers. There's a lot of different things going on. You need to be made aware of them, but it is a fear because people don't know if they're choosing the right or wrong mortgage. Again, I'm going to show you how to avoid that here on this call today, okay? The top 4 biggest mistakes. Now, here we go, right? We're getting into the meat of all of this, and we've gone over what you want. We've gone over what your fears are. Now let's talk about what the typical mistakes are. Again, some of these may have subcategories. I mean, I understand that what I could do, right, is make a list a mile long, but I really wanted to break this down to some simple things, 4 simple things here that tend to be the biggest mistakes home buyers are making, right? Number 1 was like the fear, right? Number 1 biggest mistake here is overpaying for a home. How does this happen? Well, for some people, maybe they're working with a realtor, and I'm not throwing any individual under the bus. There's a lot of fantastic realtors out there. We've got a home buying system that I developed based on, what buyers want and how to avoid these mistakes, and then ultimately how to overcome the fears. But most people go out and buy a home because they don't really know, what the home is worth, right? They look at the list price, they assume it's correct, and, they end up making an offer based on that. And, the reality of it is, what the seller's asking and what the home is worth in many cases may be 2 separate things, okay? But this is a mistake most people make, is overpaying for a home. The reality is you don't even realize it's a mistake until it comes time to sell, most of the time, okay? Not getting pre-approved first. Now, maybe this could be number 1, okay? Because this is kind of step 1 in the whole entire home buying process, right? Working with my team, right? We won't allow our buyer clients to go out and look at properties until they've been pre-approved, and here's why. Right? It's nothing on our part. It's no selfish decision that we've made on our part. right? But we don't want to put our buyers in the position to show them property that they can't actually afford or get a loan for. Okay, so for instance, let's say we go out and we don't pre-approve you, and you go online and you get one of those mortgage calculators and you figure out, well, based on what I'm seeing here, I can afford to pay for a $150,000 home, right? Well, we go out and we start looking at $150,000 homes without getting you approved, make an offer, and then go try to get a loan, only to find out you can only get approved for $125,000, right? It's going to be very, very difficult to go back and then look at $125,000 homes after you've had your heart set on 150. I won't put our clients in that position to be disappointed and heartbroken. Okay, but for you, that is a big mistake because there's a few other reasons. Number one, right, when you go to make an offer, if it's a strong listing agent or even a seller who's intelligent or who's educated in this whole process, right, when you go to make an offer, you have to have that pre-approval. It just makes your offer look stronger. It shows the seller or the agent that you are serious, you're approved, you're a real buyer. And so this is a mistake that most people make, is not getting that pre-approval first and figuring out what you can afford and what mortgage program actually matches your needs and criteria, okay? Number three is not having access to all of the homes available. Again, most home buyers in the marketplace are going out and looking at homes in a few small places. They don't realize that there is an abundance of other properties that they could be available to them in places that they don't have access to, right? So making this mistake means that since you're not getting that selection, as we talked about in the previous slide, right? You're not ensuring yourself that you're getting the best possible deal and the best possible price that's available to you, okay? And number four is not interviewing agents and doing your market research. All right, the National Association of Realtors put out a statistic some time ago, but it holds pretty steady year after year. And it was somewhere between 80 and 90% of people work with the first agent that they meet. And the crazy thing about that is that most buyers go out and they start calling on signs, or they call off the paper and they talk to the listing agent or whoever shows up at the property to show them. They don't know if this is a competent agent. Is it an incompetent agent? Does this agent actually do business? Are they making sales? Have they not done sales? How many transactions have they been through with the buyer? Right, so you're kind of winging it. And the problem is, if you go straight to the listing agent, in a lot of cases, without representation and without doing your research, you don't know, is this agent actually looking out for my best interest, right? If there's no representation between you and that agent, understand that that agent is representing the seller. It's kind of like, if you ever watch the show Cops, I guess you don't have to watch the show Cops to know this, but if you've ever seen someone on TV or wherever else getting arrested, movies, right? What do they always say, right? Anything you say or do can and will be held against you. Right? So when it comes to going right to the listing agent, understand that with no representation, that agent has no due diligence. They have no fiduciary duty to you. Okay, so anything you say or do with that agent can be held against you. They can take that stuff back to the seller, and it can ultimately hurt you in the negotiating position. So do your research on the market, but also interview other agents, right? More than one, right? Obviously, if you're looking to buy, of course, my team would be absolutely happy to have a conversation with you and see if our VIP home buying system is even a fit for you. Right? But that's not what this is about here. Okay? What I'm talking about is get out and interview some agents, do your research, and make sure that you're not making this mistake, because trust me, working with someone who's incompetent in the buying process is no better than doing it on your own, assuming you don't know what you're doing. Okay? So let me break this down just a little bit piece by piece, because I want to take each one of these mistakes and kind of break them down and make sure that you're not only clear on what they are, but then also how to overcome them, right? So number one, we talked about overpaying for a home. This being mistake number one. Listen, I want to sidestep for a minute and I'll come right back. This whole entire webinar, if you're on here, you notice that I've only really been advertising this for a couple days, right? I think Monday or Tuesday I put this out. I said I wanted to do this because over the last couple of weeks, I've had the pleasure and the opportunity to sit down with, a few dozen sellers, but 7 of those sellers, right? All told me, well, when we sat down, we went over, they were all looking to sell their home, by the way. And what they told me when we went over stuff was, ultimately, well, I guess what we came down to is that they overpaid for their property. When I tell them what their home is actually worth, right? And I go through a very detailed analysis. The same thing we do for home buyers before we make an offer, right? I do this for sellers. We sit down, we do a very thorough pricing analysis, market analysis, and find out what is the actual current market value of the property, right? And most of these people bought their home within the last 3 to 5 years. Right? And so when they came and sat down with me, sometimes they're in shock about what they hear. What it came down to when I asked them was, how did you base the offer that you made on the property when you bought it? Like, where did you come up with your figures? And most of them said, well, we saw what they were listing it for. Our agent told us this was a good number, so we made the offer. I said, well, was any research done, right? Was there any analysis performed before you made your offer? Each one of them said no. Right, so all of them, and ultimately in the end, they overpaid for the property. It cost them a lot of money, unfortunately, when we got to the position of actually selling. Okay, And this is the most important thing to remember. Money is made when you buy, not when you sell, right? So what these people found out is that when it came time to sell, right, selling is nothing more than the conclusion of the buying decision that they made. In some cases, the people that I sit down with, right, have made a very wise buying decision. In a lot of cases as well, unfortunately, some people don't make such a wise buying decision, and ultimately that's all selling is. It's a conclusion of that decision you made. Okay, so what I'm trying to do for you today, what my entire home buying system is developed to do, is make sure that you're making money the second that you buy. Okay, so how does this happen, right? We think a couple of things we talked about. How does this mistake happen? It seems like nobody wants to overpay. I see that I spelled representation wrong. Okay, well, listen, you're going to probably find a few things on here that are misspelled. Understand that spelling is not my strong suit. Yes, I did write a book, but if it wasn't for autocorrect, I doubt anyone would be able to read it. Okay. So anyways, I digress. How does this happen? How do we go out and overpay for property? No one wants to, but it always takes place. Not always, but it happens more often than it should. That's for sure. Right? How does it happen? Well, number one is buyers don't know the market. Okay. Now today you have access to way more information than you did, even 5 years ago. Right? With the internet and different sites that offer property information. But all they typically advertise is what properties are currently asking, right? What is the owner currently asking for the property, or what is an agent currently listing a home for? What you don't have access to is the expired listings, the ones that have actually sold, properties that are currently under contract, what they're selling for, how many days are on the market, right? You don't know the market, and nobody should expect you to, right? You're not in this industry every single day, right? So it's not that I expect you to know the market, but this is how these mistakes happen, is because you don't know the market. In some cases, unfortunately, some realtors don't know the market. Right, and because of that, they lead their buyers to making unwise buying decisions. Now, a lot of times as well, they make an offer based just on the list price. Right? Do not assume that just because the seller is asking a certain amount of money for their home, that it's actually worth that. Now, we all know that everything's negotiable, right? But if a home's only worth 150 and they have it listed at 175, right? How do you know that 150 is actually the market value? Now, yes, you're going to have an appraisal. Right, you make an offer, you go through your contracted period, you do have an appraisal that the bank will order, and then from there, the appraiser will tell you what they think the value is. The reality is, and this is nothing against appraisers, anyone in the real estate industry will tell you that you can send 5 different appraisers into a property, and they're going to come out with 5 different home values, okay? In some cases, I've seen appraisals being off on market value is upwards of $20,000 to $25,000 on homes that are worth, that are priced no more than $175,000. Right? So you got to be very careful. Understand that you don't just want to come in and base your offer on the list price, right? You need to know what the market is. You need to know what market value is. That's why we do such a detailed analysis before we let any buyer make an offer on a property, right? We're going to sit them down and explain to them exactly what we believe based on what's going on in the market, what's active, what's selling, everything else, what we believe is the market value. Now, in some cases, homes are priced under their market value. If that's the case, it probably won't last long, right? There's going to be a lot of buyers chomping at the bit to grab that property. They're going to see instant value. But in most cases, right, and what you're going to find is that the property is most likely priced at or above market value. But we need to know what that market value is so we can base our offer on the market value, not off the list price. Okay, so you need to know what that is. The last thing is not having buyer representation, professional buyer representation, right? So this sounds very biased. I get it. This is a biased opinion from a realtor, right? I'm sitting here telling you as a realtor that you need to have a realtor representing you. However, right, understand that it goes beyond my biased opinion. Yes, I see the absolute value in what we do, right? But you have to understand that, if you find a competent professional who can come in, break the market down for you, show you what the market value is, help you negotiate terms and conditions that match, that fit, that are, leveraged in your favor, right? If you can get all this stuff together, you give yourself the best opportunity, right, to get the best deal at the best possible price and terms that match what you need and what you're wanting, okay? So what can you do? Well, number one, do your research, not just on the market, but on agents, right? Go out and do both sides of those things and, find a competent agent and find out, when you're making an offer on a home, when you find a home you want, right? Base your offer off of the market value. Find out what that market value is. And then ultimately, like I said, go out and find buyer representation, right? Find someone, because you got to understand that 99.9% of the time, right, we're going to negotiate on your behalf that the seller pay our entire fee, okay? And 99.9% of the time it happens. Okay, so understand that buyer representation, having a competent team or an agent represent you, is not going to cost you anything. Matter of fact, right? Even if there is a small cost, in the long run of not making those mistakes, they're going to save you tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, so that's what you can do there. Number two is getting pre-approved, right? We said this could be possibly number one, but on here we're talking about it being number two, right? Go out and get your pre-approval, because there's three key benefits when it comes to getting your pre-approval and making an offer and ultimately purchasing a home. Number one is you know exactly what you can afford. There's no guessing, right? You go in, you sit down with the mortgage professional, call up Chris Wood at Jefferson Bank, right? Call up Tom Simmons at Central Bank, call up Peter Griffrath at Flat Branch Home Loans, call up Brandon Woolley at USAA Mortgage, right? Go contact these mortgage professionals and figure out, what your pre-approval is, so you know exactly what you can afford, and you take all the guesswork out, right? There's no longer that fear of, can I afford my mortgage? What mortgage is best for me, right? Get the best possible financing. They're going to tell you based on your criteria, based on your income, everything else, right? What's going to be the best fit for you? You tell these people what you're hoping to do, what you're looking to do. They're going to point you in the right direction of the best possible financing option for you, right? Plus, it also allows you to make a stronger offer, right? As a listing agent, right, when somebody brings me an offer, if I had two offers that were exactly similar, and understand within the last 2 weeks, right, we've had multiple offers coming in on listings that I have, and unfortunately, some buyers have lost out on it. And one of the reasons why you could lose out on a home, or why your offer may not be as strong as the next offer, is that you don't have that pre-approval attached, showing me or any agent and showing the seller, right, that you are a strong approved buyer and have the ability, based on what a mortgage professional is saying, to purchase this home. Okay, so if we have two offers come in at the same exact price, right, and one of them's got a pre-approval attached and the other one doesn't, it's going to be a pretty easy decision. Right, assuming terms and conditions and everything else are very similar or the same, right? We're going to go with one that says, yes, I've been, approved by a mortgage professional. Okay, so those are the three key benefits. And so what can you do here? Well, it sounds pretty simple, right? I told you in the previous slide, contact a mortgage professional. Go talk with someone. Take 15 minutes out of your day, and if you are in this process, and go out and talk to these people, right? Figure out what's going to be the best fit for you, what you can comfortably afford, or go to your friends or your agent if you have one, right? Ask for referrals. Right? Who do they recommend to use on the mortgage side? Right? Find people you like, you trust, who have used a mortgage professional, and get firsthand, first account opinions of those people before you go and meet with them. Okay? Number three is not having access to all of the homes in the marketplace. So again, what we're talking about here is not having access to those off-market deals or some of the properties that are out there. Again, how are home buyers currently looking for a home? Well, I mean, this is three, right? We could say that agents, we could add a fourth one in here and say that agents are sending you homes, right? But let's just assume you're not working with an agent right now. How are you finding homes? Well, number one is you're looking in the newspaper, whether it be in the classified section, right, or the weekly buyer's guide, or the monthly publication for the real estate book that goes out, right? That's how some people are looking. Not as much as they used to, because number two here, the internet, right? People are going out and they're searching Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, Homes.com, ForSaleByOwner.com, Craigslist.com, right? There's a million places you can go out and start looking. The problem with that is a lot of times it just takes up a lot of your time, right? And you're ultimately, by searching through all those sites, they're not always 100% up to date, and ultimately you could be missing some things. The other one is driving around or going to open houses, right? People still do that. Hell, me and my wife did that, right? I'm a realtor. And of course, we're searching the internet, the MLS, and looking around and all these other places. But, we also went out and drove around, okay? And ultimately, went to a couple open houses and did some things, to get her out and look at them. I see homes every day. She doesn't, right? So we kind of took the typical home buying route and, used these three avenues. So, here, this is what I'm talking about. If you're doing those three things only, right, you're missing out on the best deals in the marketplace, I guarantee it. Because there's only about 20% of homes that are actually that can be easily found online, right? Most people think, oh, well, they're all out there, right? Everything's on Realtor.com, everything's on Trulia. Well, it's not, right? It's not. Right? And just like, for instance, with us, we have a coming soon listing program, right? There's listings that we get that don't actually hit the market, right? Sometimes they sell before they even hit the market. There's off-market deals, expired listings, withdrawn properties, right? Bank-owned foreclosures, REO, short sale properties, right? These ones that aren't easily found or aren't even accessible online. These being off-market deals, right? And then, so the reality is the best deals sell sometimes long before they even reach the internet, right? So you may be missing out on a phenomenal deal because you're only, sticking to those three basic avenues of how am I finding homes, right? Newspaper, internet, and then driving around, okay? So again, here, what can you do? You kind of have two options here, right? You can kind of wing it, which is what most people do, and you kind of hope for the best. In some cases, right, you're rolling the dice, it works out, right? You hit the craps table in Las Vegas, every once in a while, you're going to hit 7 or 11 on your first roll, right? In some cases, you crap out. This is, in real estate, would not be a risk that I would be willing to take, right? But you certainly have that option available to you. You could find a team or an agent that offers a home buying system, right? Somebody that's going to be able to provide you with the off-market deal, someone that's going to be able to put all of the properties that match your criteria, not just the ones that you can find, but the ones that are out there that aren't available to the general public in front of your face, so that you have a full selection of properties to choose from. Again, we talked about at the very beginning, to ensure that you're getting the best possible deal, okay? And lastly here, number 4, not doing research or interviewing agents, right? So what do most home buyers choose an agent, right? Even people who are selling a home, how do we choose? Well, number 1 is a lot of times referral, right? We've had friends, we've had family members, we've had coworkers who have worked with agents, and when it comes time to buying or selling, right, what do? We get excited. And there's this little part of your brain called the reticular activating system. I won't get too far off track here, right? But this reticular activating system, for instance, have you ever bought a new car? Right? Or the second you bought that new car and you started driving around town, have you ever noticed how all of a sudden it looks like everyone in town is driving that car? You see it everywhere, right? Well, what's going on anytime you have excitement or a high focus on one particular thing, right? Your reticular activating system kicks in your brain, and you start to notice things that you didn't notice before, right? They were usually always there, but because of the fact you weren't thinking about it, you weren't excited about it, it wasn't constantly on your mind, right? You just never really noticed it. But one of the things you're going to start doing when you are getting in the home buying or the home selling process, but here specifically home buying process, right? You're going to start talking to people. You're going to start noticing real estate signs. You're going to start picking up on conversations, right, that are taking place with people who are talking about real estate. And what are you going to do? Well, you're probably going to say, well, hey, I'm looking to buy a home. Who would you recommend that I use, right? But I would say that that's a good way to do it, right? You go to people you like, know, and trust. You ask for a referral, right? Some people work with the listing agent. Man, people have come to me and they work with me when I've listed a home. The problem is, the thing you have to be careful of, right, is making sure that if you do go to the listing agent, right, that you have them sign an exclusive buyer's agreement, okay? Because if you do not, understand that that agent is not working for you, all right? They may act friendly, and they may be very nice, and by all means, they probably are. But understand that this is a sharky business, okay? And these people are not looking out for you without representation, right? If they've got an agreement with the seller, it's not even that they're doing it on purpose or that they're doing it in a malicious way, but they have a fiduciary duty to look out for the best interest of their client, which being in many cases the seller. Okay, so they have to do these things. So understand that most people choose an agent by going straight to the listing agent. They think they're going to save on the commission. That's not the case. Right? Understand that agent's not cutting their commission just because you're coming and working directly with them. You're not getting a better deal that way. Right? Again, especially if you don't have that representation, then they're looking out for the best interest of the seller. Their job is to get that seller the most amount of money, not to get you the best deal. Okay. And then some people just randomly choose the first person they talk to. As I mentioned earlier, 80 to 90% of people choose the first agent that they ever meet with. Right. And so this is just kind of, again, a crapshoot, right? You're just rolling the dice and hoping that the person that you actually met first was a competent agent who has your best interest in mind and not just looking to make a sale or have the interest of another person in mind. Okay. So what can you do here? Again, I just used the exact same slide as earlier. No, this is not a glitch. This is the exact same slide here. You can wing it and you can hope for the best. Right? Or you can go find a team that offers a home buying system. Okay, someone that has a proven system to get you the results that you're looking for in the marketplace, right? That have got other people results that can prove it with a detailed and outlined system. Okay, so again, 2 things: wing it, hope for the best. Find someone, find a team, find an agent that has a proven home buying system to get you results. Okay, so here's what you can do. Again, I'm not here to sell you. If you have an agent, right, great. Take some of this information back to them if they haven't been talking to you about it, and apply that in your home buying process. If you don't have an agent, or you don't, you're not quite in the marketplace right now, fantastic. Listen, I'd love to invite you to check out VIPbuyerprograms.com, right? Apply for my home buying program. As a matter of fact, I'm going to jump off this slide. I'm going to hit save on this deal here. And what I'm going to ask you to do in just a couple seconds is refresh this page. And directly below this video, you're going to find my application for the VIP home buying program, right? If nothing else, listen, I'm not going to pressure you. There's never any hassle for me, right? But we can sit down for a one-on-one consultation, and I can talk you through what it is exactly we do. We can do it over the phone, right? But you can apply for that below. Again, what we're going to show you is how we take buyers from where they are, help them get the results they're looking for, how we're going to apply the different programs and guarantees that we offer inside of the VIP buyer program, right? But again, you could do your research and interview multiple agents, right? Again, this is not a sales pitch for me, right? I'm here to help you and ultimately provide you with information that's going to ensure you that you're not making these mistakes, that you can, end up in a place where the home that you do buy, you've got it at a great deal at the right terms that we're all leveraged in your favor, okay? So again, the solution I've created personally, right, knowing that this is something that buyer's agency has not been around for that long, right? So most agents don't have a real system right, for assisting home buyers. For the most part, for the entire duration of, for as long as real estate's been around and realtors have been here, right, it's always been about the sellers, right? So how can we go out and list as many properties as we can? Because if we do that, the buyers will come. Right? So most people have always, they've spent their time and they developed systems on helping sellers, but what they haven't done is develop a real system for helping buyers ensure they're getting the best deal with, again, having the biggest selection and ultimately a smooth, easy process. Okay, so VIPbuyerprograms.com, that's with an S. It is plural, it's not singular, right? Because I think the singular one was taken. So just understand that VIP buyer programs, I've got a lot of different stuff in the back in there. So what does my system offer? Well, listen, I've got guaranteed loan approval, right? You apply for my program, we're going to guarantee to get you loan approval, okay? Number two is access to all the properties, including off-market homes, right? These are going to be expired listings. These are going to be properties that have been withdrawn, right? These are going to be bank-owned, REO, foreclosed, and short sale properties, right? These are going to be our coming soon listing program. Okay, we're going to ensure that we're going to prepare the right offer so that you never overpay for a property. Okay, that's, again, being mistake number one. Listen, I get it. And nothing breaks my heart more than having to sit down with a seller and tell them that you paid too much for your property. It's not worth what you paid or what you need, or in some cases, even what you owe. All right, we're going to supply you with competent affiliates. Right, so one of the things we talked about, a big fear of buyers is buying a home with structural problems. Right, we're going to put you in touch with competent inspectors, structural engineers if we have to, to ensure that doesn't happen. As far as the pre-approval, we can hook you up with some of the top mortgage professionals in town to ensure you're getting taken care of on that end. You're getting the best possible financing terms and options as well. Okay. Also, we're going to offer the $5,000 cash savings guarantee. Right, that's something that I've created and developed, where I ensure to save you at least $5,000 on the home that you purchase. If you don't, if we don't, then we'll pay $500 of your closing costs. Okay. We're also going to throw in a 1-year home warranty. We've got our love it or leave it guarantee, right? This is a 12-month satisfaction guarantee. Basically says, listen, if you buy a home through us or you buy one of our listings, right, we're going to guarantee that you like that home or that you're satisfied with that purchase for at least 12 months. If you're not, you call us up, we'll come back out and sell it for free. Now, there's more inside of the VIP buyer program. Again, you can go directly below this video, fill out that form, we'll get you information right away, right? I don't want to spend time going over all that because that would be another hour or so of this presentation. My goal here today was to talk for about 30 minutes to get through this as fast as we could, which looks like we're right on track. So again, solutions that I've created being the VIPbuyerprograms.com. You can go there to that web address, or you can just go directly below this video and fill out that form. All right, so one of the things here, again, as I said, if you apply, I'm going to get you the free list of off-market deals instantly. I'm going to send that right over to you. I'm going to get you a free copy of my book, The Ultimate Guide to Jefferson City Real Estate, what you need to know before hiring a real estate agent, before buying or selling a home, right? And then also a free consultation with myself or my team, right? All you have to do is fill out that form below. We're going to get you all of those things directly to you and as soon as possible. So I look forward to talking to those who do that. What I also want to do is open this up to questions, okay? I don't know exactly where everyone is while they're watching this. But I'm just going to leave it open, man. I'm going to kind of shut up here for a few minutes. I'll keep refreshing the page, but I want to let you guys ask a couple questions because, listen, I tried to give you the information I felt was going to be most relevant, help you understand what really goes on in the home buying process, what mistakes people are making, how you can avoid them. But I also understand that there's going to be a couple questions here that you may have, and, I definitely want to help you answer those. So real quick, I am actually going to hop off of this page, and I am going to come over to I'll open this up. See, bear with me, guys. I wasn't 100% ready for all this, but I am going to open up the page here and allow you guys to ask some questions just briefly here, okay? And let's see. You guys may be here. You may be on the actual YouTube site, so I'm going to open up both of these and see what we can find here. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Anybody? Avoid them. But I also understand there's going to be I better close that out. So I don't see any questions on there. I'm going to come over to our live events. I'm going to pause that. Any questions, guys? Any questions? Come back over here. I'm going to refresh this page one last time because if you don't have any questions, I am not going to hang out. It is my wife's birthday. We're leaving town here today. And so again, I'm going to give it just about 5 more minutes. And any questions that you guys have, now is the time to talk. Now is the time to give me some questions. Anything, anybody. I wish there was an easier way to bring you guys in on this call. And there probably is. Bear with me. Again, this technology stuff here. Come on now. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I don't know if there's just an issue with this page. If anybody is on here right now, if you can shoot me. If you have any questions, shoot them over to me on Facebook. Just pop up. If we're not friends on Facebook, you can easily find me. Shoot me a private message. Like I said, I'll hang out here for a couple more minutes and wait and see if anyone has any questions on here. And I'm just going to pull up my Facebook right now just to make sure, see if anybody has any questions. Okay, got one. Awesome. See, come on, guys. I know you wanted to ask some questions. So Daniel here asked me, Adam, how do I find off-market deals? Well, great question, Daniel. Again, listen, I mean, there's all different types of off-market deals, okay? So, one of the things that we like to provide and what I consider to be off-market deals, again, it's going to be the expired listings and withdrawn properties as well as bank-owned properties in the coming soon. Now, what you don't have access to, just as a general public, you can't go out and necessarily search these things on your own, unfortunately. But what you're not going to have access to is like those expired listings, coming soon listings that we have in our program, as well as the withdrawn properties. That's kind of information for the realtors, something that's derived from our MLS, as well as my team. So, but where you can go, there are a few sites if you want to go out and check out foreclosed properties. Again, this isn't going to give you all of them. There's a ton of sites out there, that I can give you that are free, but there's also a lot of them that you just aren't going to have access to. So bear with me on that. Understand that what I mean by getting off-market deals is having someone who can supply them to you. Okay, but you can go to places like Fannie Mae's website, and I think it's homepaths.com. That's HOMEPATHS.com. It's either with an S or without, but it's either HomePath or homepaths.com. And then Freddie Mac. Right, these are two government organizations, and Freddie Mac is homesteps.com. That's HOMESTEPS.com. Those two are going to show you some of the foreclosures that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have, and you can check those out. Again, if you really want access to all off-market deals, all you need to do is go directly below this video, fill out that form, or go to VIPbuyerprograms.com, fill out the form there, and I'll send it right over to you. Right, so we can get you off-market deals coming right away. Just need some information on where to send that. Okay, looks like I've got one other one here. And Maria asked me, Adam, how do we ensure that we're not, let's see here, how do we ensure that we don't overpay? How do we find market value? Well, again, part of this is this is why I stress so much about getting buyer representation and finding someone that is competent in that place, right? Because the challenge is with, doing it on your own is it's hard to find some of that, really important market information, like what properties have sold for in the school district, in the area, with the style of properties and that price range over the last 6 months, right? That's comparable to the home you're thinking about buying, if that makes sense. You don't have access to that information, which is very important when it comes to determining value. But one of the things you can do, right, if you're just not into working with an agent, right, if you're wanting to do this on your own and really bite down on that bullet and just go at it by yourself, great. Listen, the only thing that I can probably suggest that you do, right, is look at, well, number one, ask the seller if they've had an appraisal in the last 12 months, right? See if they have an agent, right? If you're going directly to the listing agent, ask them if they have an appraisal over the last 6 to 12 months, preferably within 6. But if it has to go 12, that will at least give you an idea of where their home is priced at in accordance to the appraisal. But again, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. If they do have a listing agent, ask the agent to provide you with the market analysis they use to list the property. If they don't have one, well, that should be a pretty good indication that no real thought was given to this value, and chances are it's probably overpriced. The other thing you can do, again, this is probably the least effective, and I'm not necessarily suggesting this, but if you're absolutely dead set on going at it on your own, you definitely can go out and find what other properties or what other homes are asking as far as their price goes. In the area that are similar in style. Again, you don't want to go out and, let's say you're purchasing a ranch style home, you don't want to go out into the marketplace and start looking at split level or 2-story homes to compare in that school district to your home, because it's a different style. Right?